Next, we move on to specification number 5, which asks us to identify and state the factors affecting the rate of population growth for a population of an organism, limited to food supply, competition, predation, and disease. Let's first understand what population growth means. Population growth is the increase in the number of individuals in a population over a period of time. In every ecosystem, organisms compete for essential resources such as food, water, living space, and mates because these resources are limited. The organisms that are best adapted to their environment are more likely to survive and reproduce successfully. As a result, their populations increase, while populations of less well-adapted organisms may decrease due to competition and environmental pressures. The size of a population is mainly controlled by 4 important limiting factors. The first factor is food supply. Food is essential for the survival, growth, and reproduction of organisms. When food is plentiful, populations are more likely to increase. However, if food becomes scarce, survival rates decrease, reproduction is reduced, and the population may begin to decline. The second factor is competition. Competition occurs when organisms compete for the same limited resources, such as food, water, space, or mates. In these situations, individuals that are better adapted are more likely to survive, while weaker individuals are less successful and may not survive or reproduce. The third factor is predation. Predators feed on prey, naturally reducing the size of prey populations. In this way, predation helps regulate population sizes and maintains balance within ecosystems. The fourth factor is disease. Diseases can spread through populations, especially when many individuals live close together. As diseases spread, they increase death rates and reduce population growth. Together, these 4 factors help keep populations balanced within ecosystems and prevent populations from increasing uncontrollably. In every ecosystem, organisms compete for essential resources that are necessary for survival and reproduction. These resources include food, water, living space, and mates. Since these resources are limited, not every individual can obtain everything it needs. The organisms that are best adapted to their environment are more likely to survive, reproduce successfully, and pass their beneficial characteristics to the next generation. This process is known as natural selection. A population increases in size when the birth rate is greater than the death rate. In other words, when more individuals are born than die over a given period, the overall population continues to grow. So remember that, the most important thing to remember is that food supply, competition, predation, and disease are the 4 main factors that control population growth. These factors determine whether a population increases, decreases, or remains stable within an ecosystem. The first is food supply. Food is essential for survival, growth, and reproduction. When food is abundant, organisms are healthier, reproduce more successfully, and the population increases. However, when food becomes scarce, organisms may starve, migrate to other areas, or fail to reproduce, causing the population to decline. Food shortages may occur because food has been used up, seasonal changes reduce food availability, or the food source itself decreases. The second factor is competition. Competition occurs when organisms compete for the same limited resources. It may occur between individuals of the same species, known as intraspecific competition, or between different species, known as interspecific competition. Organisms compete for food, water, shelter, space, and mates. Usually, the individuals that are better adapted are more successful in obtaining these resources and are therefore more likely to survive and reproduce. The third factor is predation. Predators feed on prey and naturally regulate prey populations. Predator and prey populations often show repeating cycles. When the prey population increases, there is more food available for predators, so predator numbers also increase. As predator numbers continue to rise, they consume more prey, causing the prey population to decrease. With fewer prey available, predator numbers also decline. One well-known example of this relationship is the population cycle of the lynx and the snowshoe hare. The fourth factor is disease. Disease can spread rapidly through populations, especially when population density is high. Diseases increase death rates and reduce reproduction, causing populations to decline. Examples include bacterial diseases affecting olive trees, fungal diseases threatening Cavendish banana crops, pandemics such as COVID-19, viral diseases such as HIV, and parasitic diseases such as malaria, which is transmitted by mosquitoes. Together, food supply, competition, predation, and disease help maintain balanced population sizes within ecosystems and prevent populations from growing without limit. In general, a population increases when the birth rate is greater than the death rate. Now let's look at the first graph. As you can see, it illustrates the rapid growth of the human population over time. For most of human history, population growth remained very slow. However, during the last few hundred years, the population increased dramatically, producing a J-shaped growth curve. Around the year 1000, the world's population was approximately 300 million. By the early 1800s, it had reached about 1 billion. Around the year 2000, it increased to approximately 6 billion, and by 2019 it reached about 7.7 billion. It is expected to reach between 8.3 and 10.9 billion by 2050. This rapid increase has mainly occurred over the last 300 years because of improvements in healthcare, sanitation, clean water, nutrition, and medical technology. These advances have reduced death rates, increased life expectancy, and allowed more people to survive into adulthood. Although the global growth rate was once about 2% per year, it has now slowed to around 1% annually. The second graph shows the dramatic fall in death rates from diphtheria in New York and England and Wales between 1910 and 1960. Notice that the graph uses a logarithmic scale to show changes in death rates rather than absolute numbers. In both regions, death rates fell sharply after the introduction of widespread vaccination programs. This demonstrates how medical advances and immunization can greatly reduce deaths from infectious diseases. Several additional factors influence human population growth. Population size increases when birth rates remain higher than death rates. Lower infant mortality means that more children survive to adulthood. Increased life expectancy, resulting from better nutrition, clean drinking water, improved healthcare, and modern medicines, also contributes to population growth. Improved housing, sanitation, vaccination programs, and medical advances have all reduced death rates significantly. Social and economic factors also play an important role. Higher levels of education often delay marriage and reduce family size. Family planning methods allow people to control the number of children they have, while urbanization reduces the need for large families. In the past, both birth and death rates were high, so population growth remained relatively stable. Today, in many developing countries, birth rates remain high while death rates have fallen, resulting in rapid population growth.